We have now already spent several videos explaining how the AI Act works. But the picture would not be complete without explaining the central point of this regulation, namely the concept of an AI system. Not in an engineering or philosophical sense of the word, but in the EU AI Act sense of the word. Article 3.1 AI system says that an AI system means basically a machine-based system that is designed to operate with varying levels of autonomy and that may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment, and that for explicit or implicit objectives infers from the input it receives how to generate output such as predictions, content, recommendations, or decisions that can influence physical or virtual environments. Very long way of saying this is incredibly broad. Why? I'm so glad you asked. First, machine-based system means anything written in code and also some things that aren't. Varying levels of autonomy, other than being a misnomer for automation as pointed out in ISO IEC standard 22989, can mean everything from 1 to 100. Automatic email classification? Check. May exhibit adaptiveness means doesn't necessarily have to. It simply may do so. Great, very useful. This, for instance, was a real opportunity missed, as, for instance, adaptiveness is one of the key characteristics of machine learning systems, which also reduces their explainability and the human ability to understand why a certain outcome was produced by the model. This is also something that is indeed a mandatory part as per the OECD definition, which supposedly served as inspiration for the AI Act 1. Was this an omission or a conscious decision? Guess we'll never know. But still, moving on. For implicit or explicit, so any type of objectives, infers how to produce outputs. Well, every system that produces as an output, well, also has to infer how to do so if the system is more than a calculator. As for the objectives, well, people usually develop things with a certain objective in mind, so that also doesn't help us much, really, now does it? Finally, we come to the point that these systems should also influence their environment. As they do not exist in a vacuum, this will usually be the case. As soon as we integrate a system in a process or give it to a human, it will most certainly influence at least that one process and that one person. Ergo, we are back in the game. And, all the conditions will be fulfilled for basically most software systems out there. Recital 12 kind of tries to mildden this down, and rightfully so, because treating every piece of software as AI is right out ridiculous. Yet, that's where we are. So in Recital 12, one can find an attempt at clarification of the definition, stating that traditional software systems should not be considered AI. This doesn't really help us for two reasons, though. Number one, they don't really tell us what a traditional software system is, and this is not a standardized engineering concept. Number two, even if they did, recitals don't have the power to narrow the scope of the law or limit the scope of an article. Ergo, we can throw the baby out with the bathwater, and especially when considering the ambitious goals of the AI Act to protect all fundamental rights of everyone in the EU, assume that everything going beyond the, calculator will be an AI system under the EU AI Act.